Hello, and thank you for joining me in the kitchen. My name is Katie, and I'm here with the Lynnwood Food Bank as part of my dietetic internship with Seattle Pacific University. Come along for some recipes and nutrition tips. Today, we're going to be going over pickled sugar pumpkin. I love this seasonal dish because it is fun and unexpected. This tangy pumpkin goes great on top of salads, in sandwiches, garnishing soups. You can even have it on top of ice cream. So what are you going to need to get started? Well, first, you'll need a 3-pound sugar pumpkin. Sugar pumpkins are different from carving pumpkins in that they're sweeter and less grainy. This makes them perfect for pies, soups, and in our case, pickling. You're also going to need some granulated sugar, some apple cider vinegar. Our spices today include whole black peppercorns, bay leaves, allspice berries, which I couldn't find, so today I'm going to be using ground allspice. I have whole cloves and cinnamon sticks. Similar to the allspice, if you have ground cinnamon in your pantry, go ahead and use that. Kitchen equipment we'll need today. We have a large pot with a lid and a ladle, or a large spoon. You'll need it for scooping out the pumpkin chunks and some of the brine to put it into your container. You'll need a heat-safe container like this mason jar. This one is heat-safe. It has a lid and a ring. We'll have a different video of how to can pumpkin later. You're going to need a large bowl just for moving your pumpkin around, a cutting board, a strong chef knife, a vegetable peeler, a spoon for scooping out those pumpkin guts. You'll need a liquid measuring cup. It could be any size. I'm going to be using this large one today to add all of my liquid ingredients together. And lastly, you'll need a cheesecloth or a tea ball, something that you can wrap the spices in so that they are safe and separated from your pumpkin and your brine. Now that we've gone over all of our ingredients, let's get started. So I have here my sugar pumpkin, also called a pie pumpkin because this is the kind of pumpkin you want to use for pie. I've thoroughly washed it with soap and water to get all the dirt out of those nooks and crannies. And I'm going to begin by cutting around the stem to be able to pull that out. Okay. And you do want to be careful since it is a pretty thick squash and you have to apply some pressure to be able to cut all the way through it. Okay. I'm going to wiggle this out. Here we go. We already have some seeds here, and we're going to collect a lot more. That's why I have this bowl here on the side, because I'm going to save the seeds and then roast them. If you clean off all the pulp, you can coat them with olive oil, salt and pepper. You could do a spicy mix with some chili powder, cumin, turmeric, any kind of flavor profile you want to do, and just pop them in the oven for about 12 to 15 minutes at 350 degrees. Next, on cutting my pumpkin, I'm going to go straight down in splitting it in the middle. So I'm going to cut one side, cut around the bottom. There we go. So now I have 2 halves here, and I'm going to grab a spoon so I can start to scoop out those seeds. So pumpkin is high in fiber, just like carrots and sweet potato, other orange vegetables. It's really high in vitamin A, which is important for night vision. It's important for cell division, reproductive health, and also your immune system. Pumpkin is also a good source of vitamin C and potassium. So I have my 2 halves fully scooped out. They're cleaned out of that pulp and those seeds, which I set aside to roast up later. And now I'm going to take my vegetable peeler and I'm going to use that to peel off the skin, the outside layer. So I'm just going to kind of set this here on its end and start going around, peeling off that darker orange skin. And that's hard to see with that glare, but I'm just going to go around and peel off all the skin on both halves. So now I have both of my halves fully peeled. So they're scooped, they're peeled. Other than the bottom stem, this is entirely what we're going to use for our pickling process. And next I'm going to slice up and down to form about 1-inch thick slices, and then I'm going to cut those horizontally in about 1-inch cubes. You can make them bigger or smaller if you'd like. It's going to pickle just the same. I think about a 1-inch cube works well for what I like to use pickled pumpkin in, which is general snacking or in salads. If I put it in a sandwich, I might cut thinner slices. So I have my pumpkin cubed up into about 1-inch cubes. You want to find a pumpkin that's around 3 pounds, and that will yield about 8 cups of cubed pumpkin. So now it's time to heat up our brine mixture. This is our brine. You can see that all of the granulated sugar has dissolved. It's completely clear, and we see some small simmer bubbles on the edges. It is now time to add our spices and our cubed pumpkin. Our brine is simmering. All of the granulated sugar is dissolved. I'm going to take our cheesecloth with our spice mixture, or in some cases you may have a tea ball. I'm going to plop it right into the liquid, right in the middle. Now I'm going to grab our bowl of cubed pumpkin. I'm going to carefully start adding these. Perfect. I'm going to give it a quick stir, mix everything together. Alright, we're going to bring this liquid up to a boil, and we're going to cook it for about 30 minutes until our pumpkin cubes start to become translucent. They'll be kind of soft to the touch, very similar to if you're boiling potato. Not quite that soft. Here you can see our pumpkin cubes and spice bag in the brine. We're going to bring this mixture up to a boil and then reduce the heat to a simmer, cover it, and let it simmer for about 30 to 40 minutes until the pumpkin cubes become translucent. Give it some small stirs in that time. We want to make sure the spice mixture is moved around, but we don't want it erupting. All right, this pumpkin has been cooking in brine for about 30 minutes. You can see that these cubes are kind of a more translucent color. They're shinier. These are about ready. You can see that spice bag is still in there. I'm going to turn off the heat and we can start to put these into our containers. So my pickled pumpkin is done cooking. Each piece is fully translucent, and I'm going to begin adding it to these sanitized jars. Like I mentioned before, you can put it into a container and keep it in your refrigerator. It will be fully pickled in about 2 weeks in the refrigerator. Or you can put it into a container like this one, a mason jar, something that's tempered, and use a water bath canning method to seal it, in which case it will still be fully pickled in about 2 weeks, but it will be shelf stable for up to a year. So stay tuned, there's going to be another video about water bath canning method. And if you keep it in your refrigerator or you keep it in this container in a canning method, I hope you enjoy your pickled pumpkin. Thank you for tuning in and enjoy.